Hi, everyone. I'm Reen Wilcoxon, founder of Embroidery Garden, and I'm here with Amy Bachman from Amy Sews and Jim Suzio. Everybody knows Jim. Yay.
Double trouble today, Miss Green.
I wish I had a helper with me today, too.
He's awesome. He's saving me today.
So good morning, everyone. I see Tracy and Beth and Lorraine are here. Vicki, we both know Vicki.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all hopping on here.
Wow. Yeah, so great. Remember, please like and share this. It's going to be shared to Amy's page, and you can watch the replay. So if you need to come back, you can always do that. All right, so I see more people are hopping on. Great. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make an embroidered crossbody adjustable cell phone strap. And you've probably seen pictures of it. I'm going to take you through part of it, and Amy's going to take you through the second half of finishing it up. Her and Jim are going to take care of that. I see more and more people hopping on, so
good.
We're going to get started here in just a moment.
It's going to get busy today.
First, I'm going to talk about, what I have coming up right now. I have an event coming up on February 5th. It's a free virtual event, and this event is brand new. You haven't seen it before. I'm going to be the first one having it, and I have partnered with my friends at Designs and Machine Embroidery on a brand new event featuring new innovative products that you're not going to want to miss. I just put the link in the chat so you can go and you can register for it. Again, it is free and it is virtual. Amy, I know you're always busy, so you got to have some things coming up.
I look like a crazy person today. I had to get the Bernina educator to the airport by 7 a.m. And so I was like, anyhow. And I thought we were an hour past what we are, so we're good. So we have all kinds of stuff going on today. Ed's going to be popping some links in as we go, but tonight is our class for our Serger box, our Serger subscription box, right? Mm-hmm. That's on Tuesdays. And then the animals behind us, which we'll show in a little bit, are going to be a scan and cut standalone class, the mosaic animals. And let's see, we're going to have some great pricing today for the scan and cut box if you want to join us. So let's see what else. We've got cruises coming up in May. We've got an event this weekend that we're just doing ourselves. So there's always something happening here. Always.
You are always busy.
Yes, it's definitely crazy. I'm trying to share my links on my iPad, so I apologize for looking away.
I see Tina says, everyone's staying warm. It's freezing here south of Chicago. Well, I'm south of Chicago too, and it is frigid today.
It was 5 below back home.
Yeah, we're -5 today. Yeah. So and I just got back from Palm Springs, California, thinking I was going where it was warm. It was 40 degrees, 60 at best. I'm like, sheesh. And the whole South is getting tortured. So that's
my friends in Louisiana posted photos today. Snow is coming down.
I know, it's hysterical for them. They freeze. They can't even function. They can't even get out of their chair when the things are that rough. So it's nothing here. We're good. Oh, -24 in Central Illinois.
Oh. Yeah, we got someone here from okay, so start at -9. We have Esther's from the Netherlands is here. Bonnie, we all know Bonnie. She's here.
Bonnie, we love Miss Bonnie.
Caroline. And Tina, her dogs don't want to go out. Mine don't either. And Kate says they got 3 inches in Houston. That's unbelievable too.
They're paralyzed too. Yeah. The poor dogs don't want to go out. That's funny.
All right, so let's kind of get started here. And again, we are doing an adjustable crossbody phone lanyard that's going to be embroidered. I've got mine right here that I'm going to show you. And Amy's got one too. So you can see that it's embroidered. There are little swivel hooks down here at the end. There is a little attachment that Amy has inside of her kits. Amy's going to talk about her kits in a minute, but you can hook your cell phone onto one of these little clips. Here you have some, marine vinyl, leather, whatever. Amy's going to show you how to cut it. She's got free SVG files for you. Amy's got it all.
Woo!
And
Let's hope so.
again, like I said, it's adjustable. So here's the little buckle that makes it adjustable. And, you wear it crossbody and you go hands free, do your shopping, whatever, and never lose your phone. I'm
Yeah.
one of those that I'm bad that I'll go somewhere and I'll set my phone down and walk away. And then I gotta go
Absolutely.
find it.
I did that in a casino in Las Vegas. That was not fun. I about had a stroke.
Oh,
So,
I bet. We
gotta
rely on our phones so much. And
yeah.
Amy also is going to show you some other little ways to attach other things onto this.
Yes, we're gonna try to.
All right, so let's talk about the supplies. So Amy, you got a kit available. You want to talk about what's in your kit?
Yes, you are going to get 2 yards of strapping, right? So not embroidered strapping. You're getting plain strap, right?
Aw,
There's 2 shades of gray. There's light blue. There's navy. There's like a khaki
Lavender.
and lavender,
and
right?
a natural.
And a natural, right? And then in your, I'm going to show my awful scan and cut mat. I've sold out of the silver, so we're down to black now. So you're going to get 2 little C clips, little clips for your bottoms, your buckle adjustment, and then your slider guides. And that's hard to see this, but this is what goes inside your cell phone, and it hangs on this little tab right here. So that's your hardware kit. You get the hardware and you get 2 yards of the cotton strapping. It's not the nylon webbing because the cotton strapping is prettier, easier to wear.
I think it borders better too.
It embroiders better. Nylon webbing can be brutal.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what's in it. And they're at Amy's.
You've got the webbing available too in several different colors.
Yeah. That's at amysews.com. So.
And then basically all you're going to need then is just throw a little bit of fabric in there.
Exactly. So to be safe, 3 2.5-inch strips by the width of fabric. And if you have jelly roll strips, that's the perfect width, right? To match it up. So I chose a batik today to go with this. It's always easier in this other camera, I think, so you could see. Reen had picked a beautiful turquoise and a little bit of pink. So this is kind of turquoise and pink and green. So it all matches. Pretty fun. So you can make it plain or you can make it as contrasty and fun as your little heart desires.
And Amy will talk about that fabric again a little bit later on when we get to the point where we're putting it together. And I see our friend Stephanie Sews is here. Good to see Stephanie this morning.
She's awesome.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the SVG files that you have for the strap ends.
Yeah. So there's technically 3, right, Jim? So you're going to get, this is kind of our little cheat sheet here. These little tabs are what goes in the bottom of your strap to hold your hardware, right? And finish your ends pretty. So there's ones with a hole and without a hole. So if you do not have the ability to put rivets in, right, you're just going to sew it. And it's sewed beautifully, right?
That looks great.
It doesn't take overkill because your cell phone doesn't weigh that much. If you were putting a heavy crossbody bag, you might want to think about it. But there's ones with holes and ones without holes. Yeah. And then there's these extra little tab pieces right here and here. They're in the files. We may or may not get to that today, but I will do a video on how to use it. It's an extra piece that slides on your strap, and then this buckles over and snaps. So you can add your keys, you can add like your ear pod case or something along those lines. So if we don't get to that today, I will do a little quick video and throw that
One
up.
more thing.
All right, go ahead, Jim.
All right. Also, too, in your files, you're going to get these little like bow ties, and basically what they're for is if you're making another kit and your leather you don't feel as heavy enough, or you're using like a vinyl and you're concerned that it won't support the straps, you take this and you lay it on top of that center part and sew it in. And that way you have like a double layer of your faux leather that will support all your hardware so it won't wear out as soon. So that's also included in all your cut files.
Great. And they'll talk about this again a little bit later on. We're just trying to show you everything that's, coming up that we're going to be showing. Let's see, Marcia. Yeah, Amy will talk about those rivets in a little bit. So what we're going to do now, let me get this kind of figured out here a little bit.
Cheryl, Eloise, if you don't have a scanning cut, you better call me, girl. I don't know what else to tell you. You can, depending on what kind of software you have, you probably could print an SVG file. If you double click on it, Google will open it, and then you can just print it. So you have the pattern.
Right. Yeah. There are programs you can print SVG files and then just use it like as a template to cut it out, by hand.
Also, in the files that we're sending you, there is a PDF of a photograph of all the pieces and parts of the leather pieces. You probably could print out one of those and use that to cut out as your pattern template.
Right.
If you don't have
there's always a workaround.
Yes, absolutely. And if things are really bad, support Amy Sews and I'll get them to you.
All right. So let's start getting into the strap of making the strap. So again, I'm just going to hold mine up, and these designs, let's talk about the designs that we're going to be using. We're using designs that are out of my hand sketched floral. Whoops, I was going to paste a link here. Hand sketched floral border collections. And inside of this set, and I'm going to show you it in a minute, are all kinds of little border pieces. And that's what we've used here. And we've just taken, the section and embroidered it end to end. So these designs are great because they're light and airy. You really don't want to use designs that are really dense. One thing, we're embroidering on webbing, and webbing it's loosely woven, right, Amy? I mean,
it's
just loosely woven. Doing a really dense design on this, I think it's probably going to buckle it a lot. Wouldn't you think so, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you do need something light and airy. You can put lettering, you can put your name on it, anything. But today we're focusing on this hand sketch floral border set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you a short little video. It's a couple minutes long about the set and the pieces out of the set that you would use. So let me grab that real quick here and show it to you. In Embroidery Toolshed, let's take a look at the hand sketched floral borders collection. So if I go ahead and I open it up, the collection contains 25 frames, which you can see here on the left-hand side. Let me scroll down. There are 25 frames. Let me grab one of them. So each frame is divided into borders and corners. So you get the complete frame that will stitch out all together, and you get the borders and the corners. The borders are perfect for embroidering on our webbing. You can see here, they're over here in this column on the right. They're all basically straight pieces, and there are 25 of them. So let's just go ahead, and I'm going to open up this one. And basically, this is your file to stitch onto the webbing. One thing you definitely want to check is how big it is. So after I select it, I'm going to go on the right-hand side, and this purple square, when I hold the mouse over it, that says transform, that's going to give me my height and my width. Right now it says the width is 0.84 inches. Remember, our webbing is 1.5 inches and our frame is 7 inches high. You don't want to make your design 1.5 inches wide. You want to make it, less so that it fits on the webbing nicely. Even if you make it 1.25 inches wide, it's only going to leave you 1/8 of an inch on either side. You need a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to increase the width to 1.15, and you can see it increased the height to 6.15, which is basically perfect. Remember, the frame is 7 inches high. We need wiggle room. So you really don't want your design that you are going to use to be much over 6 inches high. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply that. And let me just, whoops, bring it in. And basically, this is what we're going to be stitching. You can go to File, Save As, and then save it in your machine format. You can also go to File and print a template. And you really want to print a template out. So this is how it would look. It's got the crosshairs in it. And I've printed out a template, and we're going to get ready to stitch it on the webbing. All right, so that's how easy it is to, create a file using the hand sketch floral borders. You're basically just going to take one of those borders. So let's start looking at the frame. And I saw there are some questions coming in. Possibly Amy might be able to grab those and, put in the comments. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at the frame. So this is the Durkee Easy name frame. It's a 5x7 frame. This is an aftermarket frame. What does aftermarket mean? It means that it was not created, manufactured by by a sewing machine company for specific machines. This was created by a third party, Durkee Hoops. Brent created this name frame. This is a 5x7 for a single needle machine. Right now, the single needle easy frames only work with Baby Locker Brother. He may come out with ones for other machines. I don't know. That's a question for Durkee Hoops. He also has ones for just about any multi-needle machines. If you go to his website, durkeehoops.com, you can see the easy name frames and what he has available. The one for a multi-needle, of course, would be this way. And he has, the bars are connected over here. So then you just slide it onto the machine like this. It works the exact same way as this single needle frame does. If you go to durkeehoops.com, you can use the discount code REEN, that's REEN, to save on really any products from Durkee Hoops. So let's take another look at this frame. They're steel, they're lightweight. On the back side, there's like this protective strip here that protects your machine bed from getting scratched. If I show it this way, you can kind of see it. It's a thin strip there, but that's on the back side. Again, it's going to slide onto your machine like this. There are 4 posts on the hoop, it's a frame actually, not a hoop. And if I take these screws off, you can see the 2 posts. There's 2 on this side underneath the screws or the bolts. They come with both the multi-needle and the single needle, come with 2 sets of guides. One set of guides has these teeth on it, and the teeth are set at 1 inch apart and 1 1/4 inch apart. And basically, they just go over the screw, and they're going to connect like this on both sides. And so if you were using, anything that measured 1 inch or 1 1/4 inch, you could use these. And I'm just going to lay this here right now, just so you can see like how nicely this 1 inch ribbon fits in there. We're going to be using 1 1/2 inch. So it comes with another set of guides. Let me just take this off real quick. Now, these guides don't have teeth on them, but they have marks on them. I'm going to hold them up here so you can see the different measurements, the different marks. They go on the exact same way. They just lay down and then go like that over there and like this over here. Then you're going to put the screws on. Now, I'm not tightening these down. I'm just putting them on. And then basically, this is the frame. Again, it's 5x7. When we start to embroider our webbing, we're going to definitely do a trace. With any aftermarket frame, you're going to do a trace of your design because you do not want to hit, the bar. But basically, all we're going to do is take our webbing, and again, this is 1 1/4 inch, and now I'm going to put it through the frame. Remember, this is how it slides onto the machine. So this is the back of the hoop, towards the back of the machine. I like to take these. You can just kind of move them out of your way. And then we're going to take this, and at this end, we're going to take our webbing. We're going to put it down through this opening, bring it down, and then on this end, I'm going to bring it up through the two pieces through the opening. And that's basically how we load it. I'm going to take this one guide, place it over here, and I think you can see this. Let me get it in place here. Since I'm using 1 1/2 inch wide webbing, this is 1 1/2 inches right here. And you can see how nicely that webbing fits in between these two marks. I want to make sure that it's lined up. And you're going to have some excess down here. You can't start embroidering like right here at the end. You want to make sure that this guide is fully pressed up against this blue bar down here. You want to make sure they're even. So with the webbing in between there and the guide and the bar even, I'm going to start to tighten these screws down. You want to get them tight, but you don't have to tighten them really, crank really hard down on them. Valerie, I'm not going to be using stabilizer in here. There isn't a need because this is going to be held nice and tight and firm, and you don't need it, and the designs are light and airy. If you were using designs that were kind of dense, you could put stabilizer, floated underneath the hoop, but to me, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the thing. Then you got, you have to keep putting a piece under, and you have to, keep tearing it off. So with this end between the guides, I'm going to move this guide just over into place. I'm going to make sure that it lines up between the 1 1/2 inch marks down here. And once I'm happy with how I have it, again, I'm going to make sure that this guide is up against the blue bar, and I'm going to start tightening down the screws on this end. Now, I'm not going to tighten these real tight quite yet, because once I have it in there, I'm going to grab my webbing and I'm just going to pull ever so slightly on it. You don't want to pull really hard. You don't want to stretch your webbing. You don't want to get it out of whack, but you want this area here to be nice and taut. Okay, and once I'm happy with that, I'm going to finish tightening down these screws, and then we're going to be ready to go to the machine. So that's how I've loaded the ribbon in there with no stabilizer. It is called the Easy Name Frame 5x7 for a single needle. Again, if you have a multi-needle machine, Brent does have the hoop for most any multi-needle machine. He's got quite a few of them. So let's go over to the machine now. Well, first, wait a minute. I want to do something else. I talked about printing out a template, right? So when we go to line up our designs, there's going to be a couple of different ways to do it. You could do it with a template and put your needle, you would move your needle so that it goes right in the center of these two crosshairs. If you have a machine with a projector, you can line it up with the projector. If you use brother machines, you have the snowman marker. So I could put it exactly right there on the two crosshairs and let my machine line it up. I'll be using my projector today, but no matter how you do it, you still want to print out a template. And here's a little trick that I did after I print out my template. So I printed it out, and then what I did when I cut it out, we know that our ribbon is 1 1/2 inches wide. We have our center mark on our template. I took a ruler and measured from the center mark over 3/4 of an inch and cut. Did the same thing here. Measured over 3/4 of an inch and cut my template. So now it fits exactly on my webbing. If I would have cut it here on the lines, then you really don't know if you have it on there straight or not. So cut it the exact same size, and I know that it's going to be straight. Know that when we start doing this, we can't start embroidering way down here. We're going to have to give ourselves about an inch. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little piece of tape for right now, just so you know where we have it, and then we're going to go over to the machine. I've already got my designs loaded. You're going to take your excess webbing, and it's going to go back behind your machine. And you're going to notice when you go to put this hoop on, this frame, you can't put it on this way because your foot is in the way of the guide. So you're going to come to the right, scooch it over to the left, and then put it on. Just slide it in, just like all your other hoops go on. All right, so now that we have it on, if you were going to line this up, if you don't have a projector or something, you will move the design until your needle gets, right here at the center mark. If you have the snowman marker, your snowman marker's there, you hit your button for the snowman marker, it lines it up automatically for you. I'm going to turn on my projector. The machine says it's turning on, and when I hit OK, then it's going to move. All right, so now you can see it projecting over here. And know that that little ripple light that you see, that's only because of the camera. That's not how it looks on my machine. It's just solid or, very still. It's not moving at all. So I'm going to use my projector. So I'm going to take my template off. Now I can see, looking at this, I need to go over to the right a few steps. So I'm going to use my arrow keys, and I'm just going to start moving it. Whoa, moved it too much that time. Just a little bit more. And there's a couple, whoops. I'm going a little crazy here, Amy.
You're just excited, that's all. That projector is all that in a bag of chips, I'm telling you. Now that it's so much bigger in the Avenir and the Radiance.
I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit OK. And let's see. The machine is very new to me. Once you're done, you can go ahead and you turn the projector off. A couple other things that you can do to make sure you have it exactly where you want it. Even if I'm using the projector, I can put my template down, and if I wanted to, I can move my needle over. What you want to do is you want to get this first embroidery where you want it, because the idea is going to be, once you have it centered up and down, or I'm sorry, once you have it centered left and right, all you should have to do for the next one to line it up is move it up and down. Okay, so that should be all right. And again, you can use your needle down to make sure that you are right there on that center line, and I am right on it. So I'm going to move this out of my way. And remember, I talked about doing a trace because this is a aftermarket hoop. So this is as far down as it's going to come to the left-hand side. I'm very clear of this bar. Same thing there. If I go up to the top, because I want to make sure I'm not hitting up here, I look good all around. So I'm ready to start stitching. So this design is 2 colors. It's going to stitch the leaf, then it's going to come back, and I'm going to have to change thread and stitch the flower.
That hoop looks, I could think of 1,000 things to do with that hoop right now.
Oh yeah, I'm just going to cut this thread so it doesn't get stitched up underneath something. So while that's stitching, I'll let you keep looking at it. Yeah, there's so many things you could do with the hoop. I have made dog leashes. These are very simple to do. I have a little dog, so they got a little hook on it. But then you can see on this end, there's like, the strap to hold it. I used a different design from the Garden Flower Lace, the Hand Sketch Floral Border set. But a leash is very easy to do. I have also done purse straps. They are really easy to do.
Yeah.
And you know what? While that's there, I'm just going to change it. You don't need to sit there and just keep watching it stitch. But you can do purse straps. Very easy to do a purse strap. It's really all the same concept that we're showing you right now. I did make this strap adjustable, but they're very easy to do. And, you know, they're pretty quick to do too. They don't take much time.
Yeah, even beautiful ribbons, you know, the beautiful wired ribbon that you see like for the holidays.
Right. Yeah. You can embroider up to something, you know, this is 5 by 7. This area in here is 5. Of course, you cannot embroider something 5 inches wide. We all know that
Right.
because the foot has to have room to move. But yeah, you can embroider at least, you know, 4 inches, something that's 4 inches wide, sashes, you know, and those type of things.
Yeah, Stephanie says belts.
Yeah, belts.
You can make your own Gucci belt. Yeah,
No,
because you could do a marine vinyl would work well, you know.
I've done purse straps
suede.
with cork.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. Judy wants to know, do you use the same color for the bobbin thread? No, I'm using, you know, a regular white bobbin. What we're going to do is cover the back side.
Yes.
So the leaves are done stitching. So right now I'm changing my thread real quick and I'm going to do the flower part. And then we're
Yeah.
going to line up another part and then we're going to move on to stitching the thing together.
Yeah, Lena, you'd have to check with Durkee about the Burnett 79. You'd have to check with them directly for that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. How well would a nylon strap hold up? It's embroidered and covered with clear vinyl. I think if you don't, the clear vinyl is a great idea if you want to keep it from getting dirty.
Yeah.
Right. Or there's something now called OD coat, ODI coat that
Well,
you
the
paint on.
nylon, I did this dog strap or leash, whatever. Let's see. No, not on this one. I know that I embroidered on directly on like this nylon
Right.
webbing, and it did fine. I can't remember what I did though. This one I just put it on the back side of the leash.
Yeah, Brenda wants to cover it in clear vinyl. So
Oh, okay.
the options for that would be the OD coat would work. The Heat and Bond has the iron-on vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't want to make a tube of the clear vinyl to slide your strap through, there are some good protectants. Even a good, I hate to use the word Scotch Guard, but I think everybody knows what that means. Like a fabric protectant,
Right.
would be good.
So this is almost done. Again, this is a 2-color design. I've had someone ask me, well, what about doing like all the green at once and then coming back and doing all the, you know, other color? That's just going to make you have double the work.
Yeah.
Because if you have to stitch and then line up your green, go all the way to the end, which to make this strap, we are going to embroider 65 to 70 inches of strapping. So even though you got to change the thread, it's easier to do it this way than, you know, just all try to do all one color at one time. I am going to go ahead and get my thread changed for that green.
That's fine. Kimberly said, what about seatbelt webbing? Well, I know some weird, strange fat. Seatbelt webbing is meant to restrain you at 1,000 pounds per square, some sort of G-force per 1,000 pounds. Anyhow, it's outrageous. I would not attempt to embroider on seatbelt webbing.
Yeah.
It's a tough sew as it is, let alone embroidery would be brutal.
Probably cutting it too.
Cutting it's bad.
All right. So now to line up the next section. Normally, what I do is I unloosen the screws down here and unloosen the screws up here. And what I normally do is I hold the frame, okay? You want to make sure you're holding the frame. And with the screws loosened, I just advance the strapping like this and get ready to line up the next one. But since we are, you know, I want to give you a better view of this, I am going to take it off real quick. And again, when you go to take it off, you're going to want to make sure that you don't hit it. And again, like I said, I leave it on, but if you are going to do that, make sure you are holding the frame when you start pulling and advancing this when it's on your machine. So basically, you're just going to advance your ribbon. Now you got to, again, leave a little bit of room here. You want at least about an inch there. And if you want to make sure if you're kind of, you're good with it, use your template because this is going to line up, about here. And so I got some room back here. That's kind of, how I use that template too. So again, you want to make sure that it's lined up in between your marks down here. Once I've got this in lined up and the bar, the guide is up against the bar, really nice, I'm going to tighten the screws.
Yeah, those markings are so nice to have on there.
Right. And then there's like this is 1.5 inch, offhand. Well, here I have a ruler. Then here, this would be 3 inches, or say you're doing something that's, 2.5. And I don't have to be right here with these markings either. I could have put my ribbon over here between this, 1.5 inch. It just all depends on, what you want to do. All right. So I want to make sure again that this end is between those two markings. Let me get it lined up exactly how I want it. Once I have it, make sure the guide's in place against the bar, tighten it down somewhat. I want to make sure to pull it. And again, I'm not pulling that really hard. I just want to make sure this is taut, that there's no kind of wave in it. And when I'm done, tighten it up, take it back to the machine. And now we're going to line up the next one. And then I'm only going to stitch the leaves of the next one, and then we'll kind of move on because you'll have the idea.
Yeah.
So again,
Lorraine, she's using a 1.5 inch wide cotton webbing.
right.
Kits are at Amy Sews if you want a kit, or you can find your webbing just about anywhere. But
So let me tell you this. Another reason why I want to leave the frame on, loosen it up, hold the frame, and pull my ribbon towards me to advance it. Because now I got to get the hoop back on the machine, see, and I really can't do it, this way. So I'm going to have to loosen this up to get this on. I just kind of wanted to show you up close under that camera because it's a little bit harder to see it under this one. And I'm going to have to take this off. So that is a good reason why you just advance it with it on the machine.
And you can run some blue painter's tape on either side of your strapping, so you get another visual as you were pulling.
Right.
So many ways to line things up now. It makes it easy.
And I'm just going to put this on here. Make sure that it's in the right spot. Tighten this down. And then I'm ready to get the second one lined up. So really what I would do, like I said before, is after I had this first one done, I leave it on here. I would come to the back, unscrew these a little bit, unscrew the ones in the front, and just pull on it to advance it. All right, so now we're ready to line up the design again. So let me all right, I'm going to use my projector. All right, so you can kind of see here. And like I said, the idea would be that you're okay left and right. What you need to do is move it either up or down. And you can see my stem is right here. It's in the middle of that flower. So I need to take it and let me get into embroidery. Whoops, I got to turn my projector back on. Again, this machine is new to me. Just got it.
And it's a little slower. She's taking a little more time to think than our previous versions. So.
All right. And so now I know it has to be moved up. The design has to be moved up. Whoa.
And a little more sensitive, maybe.
I think it is a little more sensitive too. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure I'm getting this stem so that it's going to be touching the top of that flower. And again, you could use your template. You know, you just bring your template over, make sure that it, you know, lines up like that, and then move your needle to the center. And I'm going slow because this machine is a little bit more sensitive on the screen than what I'm used to. And I know if I hold that button down too long, I'll be like way up there. All right, I'm getting close. And then another thing, what I always do before I start again, I like to use the key, the button on the machine that will advance one stitch. So I'm turning the projector off. I'm going to go and I'm going to advance one stitch. And I do a needle down. And I make sure I'm exactly where I want to be. And I don't know if you can see that, but the needle is exactly at the top of the flower where it needs to be. So I'm going to put my needle back up. I am going to thread my thread. I don't thread it when I change it because I like to do that needle up, needle down. So then when I start, I'll let it go and it'll stitch those leaves, and then I could take it out of there and I can show it to you. But basically, that's how you line it up. And you just keep going and going until you get about 65 to 70 inches of webbing embroidered to use for the cell phone lanyard. Anybody have any questions before we move on? And Amy takes it over and she starts to do the actual putting together of the strap.
So Denise had a question. She doesn't have a projector. Are the templates included when you buy the designs? The printable.
Am I at the wrong?
You're at the very bottom, 3 from the very bottom. So yeah, Denise doesn't have a projector, and if you don't have software to print a template, I think my suggestion is
okay. If you don't have software to print a template, Designs and Machine Embroidery has free software. It's called Embroidery Tool Shed. You can do basic editing in it, and you can print templates. You really, you know, if you don't have a projector, you really are going to have to use a template because, you know, you have to make sure that the beginning of your template, of your stitching down here, you need to make sure that the next one, the beginning of it, is going to hit exactly where it needs to be. And again, all you do is lay it down on the webbing and then line your needle up with that center mark. Embroider that area, move it so that it lined up again, and then line your needle up with the center mark. And that's how you would have to do it if you don't have a projector.
right.
There's many different ways of doing it.
And I forget the tool shed has that feature, which is really lovely and generous of Dime, right? To have that in a free download, which is
right, you know, because you always want to print a template over something.
Mhm.
But I'm going to go ahead now. This is done with the leaves. I'm not going to go ahead and stitch out the flowers. So if Amy wants to take it over now.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Jim's my wingman. We're ready. We're ready, Reen.
Yep.
All right. And through the magic of television, there is 2 yards stitched out, right? So, and this is, again, one of Reen's designs. It's just a nice 2-color. It's not really dense, so it works out really well. So what you're going to need is, if you did not purchase the kit from Amy Sews, what you're going to need is some sort of marine vinyl. There's several different types here. Some, you know, even some regular leather all works well, right? And again, I pretty much just stick with black with my hardware, but if you have marine vinyl variety of colors, that's great. Just make sure it's not too stretchy. That's the big takeaway. And then you're going to need, I'm going to say 3 strips, and that gives you plenty of room. 3 so 2.5 inches by the width of fabric, right? So that's 40. These days, it's almost 43 inches, and we've lost our 44. And then you're going to sew them together like a quilt binding on the 45, right? So that there's no bulk going across. And then you're going to need to get your pieces and parts ready for to be able to build it. So you're going to need a buckle adjuster. And I'm showing my dirty laundry here with this filthy mat, but it's my Scan and Cut mat gets abused. You're going to need 2 of the O-rings or D-rings with the clamps on them. This piece right here, you can see that as I shine it, this piece goes in your cell phone case. So there is a clip to clip these on once it's finished. And then 2 of the bars. So that's kind of the minimum that you need to make the strap work.
Mhm.
If you don't want to make it adjustable, by all means, throw it around your shoulder, put the 2 ends together, and boom, you're done, right? So this is more of an adjustable type situation. It's always like, just because it's good for us doesn't mean it's the right thing. It's just the way it is. Doreen did a great job designing this. So that's what we're doing. So here's one that is finished. So we're going to cut those tabs on the Scan and Cut. So the SVG files that you download, right? There's 2 files, one with holes and one without. Some of you do not have the ability to do rivets. Cam snaps aren't the answer here, right? Cam rivets aren't the answer. You need real metal rivets, right? And so here is the first section, right? So it's going to be cut into sections, and then you have your adjustable buckle, and then your end piece. So we decided to do fabric so it wasn't as bulky. Right. Plus it gives you another color opportunity, something kind of fun. So Lorraine says, as long as your mat works. Well, I'm going to show you something real quick. If you don't have a Scan and Cut, just hold on. You can, I don't know if Toolshed will open that SVG file now that I say that, but you can just double click on it. Google will open it and you can print it out. So this is the black blade, the heavy blade. This is my Scan and Cut SDX 325. I want to show you something. We're getting ready for the next Scan and Cut box, right? We do a subscription box, and then it's every other month, and the class is every other month. Jim was cutting chipboard. Look at my blade. So if you have not unscrewed your blade and cleaned it up, your Scan and Cut is going to malfunction. So that's all I'm going to do. So I'm just going to pop this black blade on here. I'm just going to use everything in the automated mode. Let's talk about the different backings. So this backing has like a furry, felty kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. This backing is kind of the furry, felty, but it's a little heavier. This has that pebbled front to it. This is like automotive vinyl, marine vinyl, which is very heavy, but you have this scrim in here. So this takes a little more effort to cut. If you're cutting regular leather, and I think we put it all in the kits, the regular leather pieces, you always want to cut this plain side down. You don't want the fuzzy on your mat. Right. It's going to cause...
And it's not going to adhere as well.
Right. Your mat's going to look like my mat, and then it's... So on the screen, we have all the pieces. One more. So we have the double fold and then the single tabs, right? Yeah. So you're going to cut 4 for every project. So let's see if we can cut this one. So I'm going to put this fuzzy side down. This is my favorite spray of all times. It's brand new. We love our Roxanne Basted. It's now a temporary basting spray. It doesn't cause all this waft in the air. It's low VOCs. It doesn't stink. So I do not normally spray my mats. What's in my Scan and Cut? That's a no-no. I'm going to dry for a second. And we're going to put this down. Now, if your mat is really bad, you can use some painter's tape to put your edges down. Do you think I should, Jim, or think we're going to go for it?
I think we're okay.
I think we're okay. I was like, no,
we can do this. We've done it before.
We can do this. We are professionals. And Jim and I have a saying, we screw up so you don't have to. Yep. So we've got this all figured out. So I'm going to hit my little scan button, and I'm going to have it scan in the background so I can see exactly where to place my pieces. So these are the ones we're cutting out. We're cutting out the ones without the hole, by the way. So you're going to need 2 of these and 2 of these. These extra file pieces that are on here, I think Jim and I are going to just put a little video and throw it over to Reen. So it's an extra piece you can add on to. So it is brand new. We have it at amysews.com. It's $20 a can. And I'm just going to say that it's expensive, but it goes forever, right? But it has been the least messy, best smelling
There's no buildup.
on the planet. Yeah. All right. So I know it's difficult for you guys to see my screen. Let's see if I can fix this more. Just a little bit. So I'm just going to pull these, and you want to stay about 1/4 of an inch away from the edges. I know we like to be frugal, but sometimes frugal hurts. Not, you end up making mistakes. And this is a dramatic split. So I just wanted you to see all the pieces, right? It's amysews.com. That's my store, but it's amysews.com. All right, I'm just going to say okay. And I'm going to select cut. And we're going to cross our fingers because we're live. All right, there we go. Letter rip, tater chip. Okay. So let that cut for a second, and then Jim's actually going to go to the sewing machine and show you how a nice way to finish this.
Yeah.
And it's really all about, well, that says 4 minutes. And we should have planned that better. So it's all about how when it folds around your strap, how clean it looks. So many times I see people fold it, turn it. You get this big clump on
And then
the
you
edge.
can't sew through it.
Can't sew through it. So we are definitely going to do that. Do you want to head that way? And then while this is cutting, we can do your thing. So here's your long one.
Okay.
So I'm going to switch Jim over to the sewing machine. There we go. Ooh, that's a close up. Lordy. Yeah, your sewing machine will not have that green dot on the ankle. That's so when repair department goes to steal mine. I know it. That's mine. I want it back because they're trying to work on something. So.
Okay. The first thing you want to do is you want to look at your strap and determine how you're going to wear it. And because this is a directional design and I didn't want it to be worn upside down.
Oh, that's a great idea. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, that was my first attack. Whenever I was working at this, I thought, how is this going to be worn? So I actually draped it on the dress form. And I looked at it and I thought, okay, I wanted the front of it to be directionally. And then when I looked at the sample we're working with, I realized that the smaller strap portion was on first, and then there was the longer strap portion. So what I did was, you can see on our sample, here's like the smaller portions at the bottom, and then it has the larger part where the adjustable buckle is. So I planned ahead and I looked at it and thought, okay, this is going to be my strap with the right side going up. I'm going to lead off with my shorter portion first, and that's why I put a straight pin in, so I know that's where I'm going to cut it. So it's a reminder for me when I put on my fabric to do the backing, I'm going to sew the little strap from this point down toward the end. The long strap, I'm going to sew from the bottom of the design up. That's how I apply
We're
them.
calling a little strap. That's about 18 inches.
Yeah.
Right. So that's just, if somebody's going to ask the measurements, it's
And I made it a little longer because you can always cut it shorter before you put the little the leather
buttons
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, make it as long as you need to make it. You can't add more. Well, you could painfully, but you can.
Yeah, but it won't look as nice.
Yeah, it's better just to.
So for a visual for me, so I remember where I have it cut and where I'm going to put the fabric on. I wouldn't put a straight pin on either end, and then I'll just take my scissors and I'll cut it right in between the strip.
I'm going to make everybody dizzy. I'm going to see if I can pull back just a little bit. There we go. So you can more of you in there.
So this is the bottom portion. This is the top portion, and I'm going to sew my fabric from the straight pins out. So I went and took two pieces of fabric, and like Amy showed you, they were sewn together. And what I'm going to do is I'll just start at this end because that's where I put my straight pin. And I'm going to take my fabric, make sure I have it with the right side facing me. And I know that because I have the seam here. So I'll have the right side here.
Valerie, there's one section of the strap that isn't adjustable. That's what Jim's calling the little strap. It's about 18 inches. So you could break this into, there's two straps. There's the long adjustable one, and then there's a standard one that's close to your phone.
Yeah, like the lower part of it, whatever. And then so I have my finished embroidered strap, and I'm going to put it face down. So always keep pretty side to pretty side. And just to keep it in position for me, I'm just going to move my straight pin so I know I'm going to sew across here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this part of the seam allowance and just wrap it around. And I'm going to move that pin. And I'll take this part of the seam allowance, wrapping it around. So again, I have right sides together. And I'm looking at the back of the strapping. And I can notice the back because I have all the bobbin work there. So there I have the strap and the back lining all lined up. And I'll use like maybe a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch seam allowance. Lowered my foot, removed my straight pin. I'll take a couple stitches, I'll back stitch to secure, come forward. Once I got that seam allowance under the foot, I can then take out that straight pin, back stitch, and I always secured that edge.
Right. And Jim's sewing on a Janome M17. Someone's going to ask, because it does sound different. If you have a brother, we're using a Janome. So that's perfect.
So I have it attached, and all I have to do is take the fabric, pull it back on itself, and see how it just wrapped itself around.
Woohoo!
And now I have that raw edge encased in fabric. All I have to do is then go to the ironing board, and I can press my seam allowances back. So when I take it and wrap it over, I'll have all the raw edges of the strapping encased in fabric, just like that, with no bulk.
Right. And then you're just going to stitch it down.
So then I'll just go and edge stitch. And you can either do it from the front or the back. And I would probably use matching thread with the belting because then you won't see it. Like in this one, what I did was I put black thread in the needle and I put matching green thread in the bobbin and sewed that way. Or if you feel more comfortable sewing on the fabric side, put matching thread in your needle, matching thread in your bobbin, and then top stitch it that way. And you get a really nice, clean, finished look to the edge. And then I would, as you're sewing it, you're just going to sew all the way to the end of your long strap. And then whatever fabric's left over, cut it off. And then the same thing, you'll go ahead and put right side to right side on the second portion, sew across it, and then pull it to the right side. And then press it. And that's it.
Right.
It's really easy.
It's really easy. So
Hey, Jim,
Yeah.
that is an amazing way to do that. I never would have thought to do that way, to sew that fabric to the back side like that.
Yeah.
It
And just cut it back, and by wrapping it around the edge, it keeps the ends from poking out.
Great technique.
yeah, you don't have to fold it and hope it matches or hope it lines up. You know,
Yeah.
just and I do that on a lot of different things. The ends of my zippers, even I'll wrap that end and sew across my zipper and pull it, and I'll have a finished end of my zipper.
So you just wrap it around the edges, sew it in place, and then once you have it secured, you just have to pull it to the right side.
Right.
That's it.
And then fold it back, and then take your time pressing. Right. So
Yeah.
it's all about the details.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't take long to press, but you just it makes it easy, so it's the same width
Right.
as your.
And what I liked about Reen's design too is that
Put
it didn't distort the webbing. The webbing actually had a really nice, clean, straight edge, so it was really easy to fold the raw edges under and press it in line.
Right. If you did a very dense forward-facing design,
The edges are going to ripple. Yeah.
it would be awful. So these are the perfect designs.
Yeah, these are perfect for it.
She designed for that. So let me check on our scan and cut pieces. So here is our scan and cut pieces. And so, and if you don't have a scan and cut, it really is something that's worth investing in, because when you see how nice these pieces are and how clean that is, right? So that really makes a big difference. So I think even though we don't have the fabric sewn on that other one. I
Mhm.
think we're just going to have to cut it and build it as it is. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
so we're going to fake it. So that's how nice the piece is. It cuts so nice. I just use the black blade. Remember to clean your black blade. And we cut all kinds of weird things. And I don't, weird's the wrong word. So when we do our scan and cut boxes or our scan and cut classes, we don't cut just fabric, or we don't just cut vinyl. We cut. So this is just, I'm going to give a sneak peek, Jim.
Okay.
So this is the art of cartonnage. So we're making fabric covered boxes, gift boxes. In what is this? Is January, February, and this
Yeah.
is March.
No, this is February.
Oh, this is February.
This is for next month.
Oh, that's right. We're doing surgery today. Yeah. So these will have little rivets in them. So we got beautiful fabric that just came in for these. So just the scan and cut also punch the rivet holes. Valerie, there's two files. Go ahead, Jim. There's two files.
You get two sets of files, one that'll have it plain and one that'll have it with the holes punched in it.
Right.
And if you're going to do the standard strap, I forgot to mention one thing too. You're going to want to cut out two of this section.
Okay.
And then if you feel that the leather or vinyl that you're working with is a little thin, then you'll do the coordinating little bow tie. The reason for this is you can take this one and line that strap and then sew along the edges. So you're going to have a double reinforced area so that when you wrap it around and have your hardware coming through, it's not going to wear out the vinyl or leather as fast.
Right. So if you have a pretty piece, right, that maybe is a little stretchy, then you get another piece that isn't stretchy.
Yeah.
But it's going to be on the underside. So it's just support.
Right. You can even use iron-on interfacing or something like that.
Yeah. Just want to make, you just want
So
to.
it's just an extra support piece. And also I came up with this little elongated strap. So if you're going to do the classic ring crossover bag, you're going to cut out two of these.
Okay.
If you want to be a little adventurous, you can cut out one of these. The reason for this is that it'll overlap your strip and also come in that you can have another ring attached. So you could do like a double ring attachment with that.
Right. Exactly.
So you'll be cutting out just two of these and then two of these if you need support.
Right. Perfect. So this is an example of way too stretchy and it's just going to sag.
Yeah.
So this is a good one to support with some sort of fusible. So I just posted, if you join the scan and cut class only box the next 3 days, it's only $20.
Wow.
I know, it's half price. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So before
Okay.
we move on, a couple of things. Someone mentioned if you're using polyester webbing, watch that iron.
Yes.
Oh, that's true. Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. You
Yeah.
can't press, the polyester webbing. So watch that. And Valerie, yes, the scan and cut, we'll cut those little holes out.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I thought there was another question. Oh, why don't you show the strap again? And so everyone knows that that short piece that you were talking about.
Yeah.
You can see the little tiny hole. Perfect. Tiny little holes.
Scan and cut's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't live without her. In fact, I got a video coming up pretty soon on actually creating the cut files in the Brother and Baby Lock machines. So cool.
Okay, so this is that lower portion that's going to be at the bottom of the entire crossover strap.
So let me put it on. So maybe that would help.
Yeah, that's what I kind of meant, to actually show the whole strap and point out that short piece.
Okay, so you're getting all of me whether you like it or not. So that's so this is the what he's calling the short piece right here. It goes from here to here. Right, Jim? That's
Yep.
what we want it, right? And then the adjustable strap is up here. What this does is keeps all the bulk of that double strap out.
Right.
Right. So the double strap is actually up on your shoulder. But this one's a little short for me. I would want mine a little bit longer. But that's what that first piece is just so it's flush in the front, like across your tummy. And then the buckles, and then the double, and the adjustable. Right. So that puts it all in the front.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. Back to you, Jim.
Okay. So I have that lower portion like we did before.
I'll turn the iron on real quick.
Okay. And then right now I have this strap with the right side facing me. I got my fabric that I'm going to line it. I'm going to put it right side to right side or pretty side to pretty side. I'm going to turn it to the back, and I can see that's the back because it has all the bobbin work. And I have the seam allowance or the excess of the fabric sticking out beyond both ends. I'll just take the fabric and wrap it around, and I'll secure it with a straight pin. Like that. I'll take the other portion. I'm going to kind of pull it a little tight, so I don't want any ripples on the other side. And I'll wrap it around. And I'll also take another straight pin just to hold it in place until I get it to the machine. So I just have it just like that. And then put it under the foot. For the seam allowance I want, I can go 1/4 inch, 3/8, up to a half. I'm going to lower my foot and then take out my needle, my straight pin. By doing that, my seam allowance is securely held in place. It's not going to unwrap on me. I can take a couple stitches to hold. I'll back stitch to secure the threads, come to the front. And as soon as I see that my presser foot is right on top of my edge of my fabric, I can go ahead and take out that straight pin because I don't want to sew with the pin. So toward the end, back stitch a little bit and then cut my thread. And what I have left is the edge of the strap wrapped in the fabric so that I can then take the edge, and when I pull it up, it binds the edges in wrapped fabric so that when I take this and fold it over, even the cut edge is thoroughly encased in fabric, giving me a really nice clean edge.
All right, so let me press real quick, and
Okay.
then you could. Oh, you need this piece to attach everything else to, right?
Well, you sew the edges first. So what you'll do is once you have it sewn on, you'll just go to your iron. So your seam allowances down, press your seam allowances down, and then you can fold it back on itself. And like Green said, if you are working with like a nylon strap, you don't want to take your iron to it. You may want to go ahead and just press your seam allowances in place first, and then maybe use like a little bit of a fabric glue stick just to get it a little tacky so that you can wrap it around, and then it'll hold it in place for you. So when you go to sew it on, you can do that. Or what I like to do also is once I got it pressed in position, because this is kind of thick and it may be a little bulky to work with, I may go and take little fabric clips and put them on, and that way that will hold it in place, and I won't get any distortion or rippling of the webbing by putting a straight pin in. And this way, I'll ensure that my fabric is straight and smooth across the whole back of the webbing. And then that way too, if I'm working with a nylon and I can't press, I can easily just kind of finger press the fabric lining and then put the clips to hold it in place.
All right, so that is pressed under pressure.
Through the magic of television.
Through the magic of television.
So we have the seam allowances pressed under.
She wants to know, are you doing both ends first? So just do one end and flip it, right? Because you're going to cover the rest in the vinyl. Correct?
Yeah, so you're just going to go and do your end, and then I'll just take it. So if I felt more comfortable sewing from the back side, I can do that. And I would just start at the top, go like maybe an 1/8 of an inch away. If I have an edge guide foot, I may pop that on my machine.
So,
check right along the edge.
So the width of the fabric strap is 2.5 inches. So it's the same as a jelly.
Yeah,
a
jelly
jelly
roll.
roll. Right.
And now I just kind of tack it in place.
Great. So go ahead. So if those of you who struggle, a lot of you have this black button, which you don't see. There's a black button on the side of the machine. When you start off the edge and you put your foot down and right, it like it jams up. If you push this black button in right here on the side, that locks the presser foot. So unpushed, raise it up again. The foot floats.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put that down and hold the button, that foot is locked on your fabric.
Yeah.
So that's your sewing hint for the day. Use that black button. Okay, so how do we attach our ends, Mr. Jim?
Okay.
Which pieces do you want? You need the,
Okay, so if I'm going to do this portion, I'll pretend that my strip's already lined.
yeah, you're gonna have to cut the uncovered one.
Well, you have your what? Let's say if I'm going to work with,
What you need, honey?
I was going to grab that little one. I'll just use this one. Okay. So here I have the strip, and I got this edge that's finished. So when I look at this, both of them have that O-ring attached on the raw edge. Well, one has the lower portion is going to have that little O-ring, and this long strip is going to have the slider. So let's say, for example, if I'm going to work with this one with the O-ring first, what I'll do is I'll work with the end that's finished. So let's wrap this under. And I'm going to pretend this was already stitched. And I would take my O-ring.
It's really a
Rectangle. So this is a rectangle.
It's a fancy
It's
one.
a rectangle one. And I'll slip it over. So we're going to pretend this was sewn. I'll take this and then fold it back. And then all I have to do is top stitch. I would do around the top and the bottom of that. And that will just hold that right in place for me. And that way, by wrapping the ends of the webbing first in the fabric, I can do it with no bulk. And it will easily go through the foot of my machine. The other end that is like the longer strip, you're going to take the...
Here's a little piece here if you just want to do a piece that's
Okay.
so they could see it.
So the one that has the slider attached to that, what you're going to do is you're going to actually slip it through and then slip it back. So it's caught on that little sliding part of that kind of buckle there.
There's a little bar in the middle. Yeah.
So you have to run that bar. And then you'll just slide it down to about, I went about 1.5 inches, just so that this wasn't in my way. And then I went, and again, because you're going to have these finished edges like that, I just slipped it through and top stitch along the edge and along the seam. So it looks like this when it's attached. And that way, when I go ahead and take that longer piece of the webbing, I'll slip it through the ring at the base like this. This is the shorter one. And then have it ends coming, then slip it through the webbing so that I have the raw edges exposed on the opposite end. And that's when I work with my one little tab. And then basically to attach that, I'll make sure that my ends are cleaned. If I have any little whiskers of webbing, I'll take my scissors, trim it off, that. And I'll have my leather with the wrong side facing me, and I'll center it on top. And what I'm going to do is I want to have it a good inch into this so that where you can kind of visually see where the bottom part's kind of like a square. That's all retained within it. So I'm going to have a good base to sew the webbing to. Then I'll take the little ring with the clip on it, slip it through the other end, and it's going to be a little wider at first until it gets to the narrow part. You slip that on it and put it on top. I could take my little clips to hold it because I don't want to pin into the leather because the marks won't go away.
Right, especially if it's
the real leather.
If you got real leather in your kit,
Yeah.
That's what you got. So, and these were cut wider intentionally. So now you're not sewing through cotton webbing and 2 layers of leather and
Yeah, because you could actually sew right beside it. So this way, when you do that, you're going to encase the webbing in the leather or the vinyl, whatever you're using. And then what I did with this one was I just went and sewed across diagonally. So, and that will support it even if you don't do the rivets.
right. It doesn't have to go crazy. Your cell phone's a pound at best.
Yeah.
I probably have the biggest, heaviest cell phone on the planet, and it's more than enough.
And then just in case, if you choose a vinyl or faux leather that you feel is a little too stretchy, that's where you're going to have that little
Your
strip,
mini bow tie.
the
Yeah.
little bow tie in it. And what I would do first is I would sew that in place so it didn't move. So I would go to my machine and I would just sew along this portion of the bow tie and this portion. I wouldn't worry about the ends. I'll let them float, because once I go ahead and put the little clip back on it, like that, and then I'll fold it back, encasing this edge so everything will stack right on top. Just like that. And then take a bunch of little clips to hold it in place and then sew around it. And I went with like a stitch length of 3. Normally my machine comes up with like a stitch length of 2.5 or 2.4. I like it a little longer because by sewing it too tight, you perforate the leather.
Right. So it looks more professional. They don't use a short, even top stitching on some of the very nicest garments. It is not a short top stitch.
Yeah, they do a little longer. And if you're concerned that your thread's not going to hold it, then put 2 strands through the eye of your needle.
Yeah.
And then when you go through it, it's like double stitching it.
Right. So just a size 80, size 90 if you have to.
Yeah. And it gives a really nice finished look to the ends like that.
Yeah, that's super. And that's really is about the, I guess, what do you want to say? It's really the details. We always talk about it's in the details, right?
Yes.
Where the leather was cut a little bit wider, so you have stitching room, and then you encase it with the cross. Sheila, you don't need any special needles.
No.
Just an 80 or a 90 universal if you have to. So
Yeah.
let's hand the finished one, Jim, so they can see the whole step. Okay. So when Jim talked about the short piece, that's his first entry level piece where he finished the edges here. We weren't worried about the edges here because it has the clip and the leather. This end on the inside is finished. If you finish all your ends, no harm, no foul. Right? If you just get confused, just finish all of them. This piece was about 18 inches, this first piece. And the strap was the rest of the balance of the 2 yards.
Yeah.
And you can put it on, make it fit. So here's your adjustable buckle, right? And then it goes all the way. And it also, there's your clip and your finished edge. So that is the whole deal. And then this goes around your body. This clips into that little piece that's in your case. So, but the fabric lightens it up so you're not getting extra bulk. The edge finishes, there's no extra bulk in here. And make sure you lengthen your stitch length. And if you have ribbons, ribbons. You have frog dots, like frog dots, rivets. Then if you have a rib machine, you can add them, right? It always makes it look like it's purchased.
Yeah.
And not,
Can I show one thing too?
you do your thing,
You want to
Jim.
flip it over here?
Well, you got it, Jim.
Okay.
Do Jim.
When we're doing the classic ring crossover bag, like I said, you're going to use 2 of these pieces to finish. So you'll have one on your shorter end and one on the longer one. And if you want to play with it and have a little extra place to maybe clip on something else, that's where I came up with this extended version, which looks a little different than the first one. And the way this one would be attached would be if you would take it and put it this way in relationship to the webbing. What I could do is I can actually take, if I pick up an extra D ring or O ring, I could slip it on this portion first. And then I would fold it up like that. I would then put the webbing on top, put the ring with the clip on the opposite end and fold it over and sew. And by doing that, I would have the end with the clip, and I have an extra place where I can have another D-ring attached that I can clip like maybe my car keys onto. So it's a way that you can really expand this and get even more out of the strap.
Oh, so someone asked the question, how does the plastic piece go in your phone? Well, considering I'm using my phone for comments, it's going to be interesting. Let's, so you just take it, you take your case, see which end is your charging port, the opposite end of that. You're just going to pop your case off like that. this goes between your case and your phone, and you pinch it right on. And I will say, please test it. My case is not good for that because, it just tests your case, right? Just, you don't want to drop your phone because of this. So if you're lazy, can you skip the fabric? Yes. Yes, Miss Rain.
On your phone case, you have the little opening for the charger, right?
Yep.
Okay, it goes through there.
Oh, you put it through that on yours. I don't know. It didn't. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
and
you
then
have to take the cover off first.
Still be able to charge your phone.
Oh,
So
I
it
see.
comes
It
out
goes
that
right
way.
through.
And
Duh.
then it's really locked in.
Oh, see, see, ding dong with me. That's it. That's why I'm always looking for my phone. I don't have one of these. I will now.
Yeah, so it comes out of that little charging port area. I mean, it doesn't come out of that, but it comes out of that hole in your case
Right.
for your charger, and you're still able to charge your phone with that little piece in there. So we had some other questions. Let me see if I can get back to them. Vicki said she could have made a guitar strap back in the day. Yes, you could have.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And is there a pattern pouch to hold your phone? That little piece is actually holding your phone, so you don't need something to hold.
And like Amy shared that plastic piece, and as Remy explained how you put it through that opening, if you want to add an extra little clip to that little piece I made, that you can actually have this clip onto the other strap, and here's an extra little D-ring that would hang down, and then you can clip your phone right onto that.
Yeah,
or
and
your
you can
car
clip a
keys,
little
anything.
zipper bag on there to hold,
Yeah.
a little something.
Yeah.
I did something kind of similar to that, not as cool as yours, but then I put the earpiece of my sunglasses in, and I held my sunglasses.
Perfect.
So
That's
there's lots
awesome.
of things.
Like the best cell phone purse bag ever on the planet. Anyhow, but yes, you could add your straps to these two.
Yeah.
So the patterns for the leather strap or the leather tabs, those are SVG files at amysews.com.
Yep. Ed'll put the link in. I just see him pop in there. So someone asked about how do you get the scan and cut box? So there's two things. There's the box where you get supplies, and then there's class only. So because we only open it for so many members for the box, right now you can get into class only because sourcing everything for us is brutal. When you need 600, 1,000 of something, you make the vendor's hair curl. So right now you can just jump into class only, and then you can switch into the box next month.
Yeah. There's kind of like a waiting list for that, right? So you can sign up for the class only, and then once it opens up, you can snap
all you do is send us an email. We'll move you into the box. So I just need to know how many to order that day. That's all. So, and speaking of boxes, tonight is our serger box, right?
Yeah.
So this is we're doing like stained glass weaving.
That it's not woven.
It's not woven. It's a
little tricky stacking method.
So we're working on roll hem, piecing with your serger. So again, it can be a table runner, a tote bag.
Placemats.
Right. So it's all about us inspiring everybody. So just like you, Miss Reen, all those amazing things that you do that make me want to stay up all night and make stuff. That's what we do. So what's the name of the plastic thing? You can search probably Amazon or somewhere. It's just a cell phone
lanyard
holder thing. Yeah, they'll pop up. They're everywhere. So,
and yes, Janet, you can watch a recording. You can watch it on Amy's Facebook page, Embroidery Garden's Facebook page, Embroidery Garden's YouTube channel. I think Amy could even share this, get it onto her YouTube page also. We went over how the plastic piece fits into the phone case.
Dara, thank you so much. She's a box person and she's loving it. So that's good.
Good. And then, you can still watch it later. See if there's anything else. If you're lazy, can you skip the fabric lining? The backside, the embroidery to show, but I wouldn't skip it.
You could just do a roll hem finish on the width and then just fuse it down. You could just fuse the fabric down if
a person had watched, let's say, one of our serger boxes, or even like Makeup Monday, you would replace the lower looper with fusible thread.
That's right.
And then do your rolled hem, and then you just lay it in place and press it with your iron, and it's bonded on.
Let's not torture them.
There you go. Jim's got the answers for anything. And Mary wants to know, how do you order the scan and cut box, and Ed kind of posted and went over it.
If you do class only, it's half price for the next 3 days. So the 23rd,
Yeah.
January 23rd, you can hop in for half price, and then you can switch things over.
Yeah.
Tracy still can't find the scan and cut files for the SVG files. I'll have Ed post one more time, Tracy, so you can grab them, honey.
Basically, they're at amysews.com, right?
Yes, under kids. And
Yeah.
then if you order a kit after today, they're included in the download automatically when you buy the kit instead of two separate things. So
Okay, and then don't forget, get a kit from Amy, because she's got everything you need except for the fabric. And you can use any fabric that you want. You can just start embroidering and make one.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. This is a great project, Rain. You were so inventive. That's what I love hanging out with you. Like their brains go bing, bing, bing. Like, what can we
Yeah.
do?
And I love the design because there's like no bulk to it when you add it to the webbing.
Yeah.
It didn't change the hand of the webbing at all.
No, it's still
It's
very
great.
soft. It's not
And I love
itchy.
Yeah.
what you guys did with it. It was a fun collaboration, I think.
Yeah.
And it's something cool and useful and things you can make for gifts. And
Right.
nobody's going to have something that's, custom made like this.
Yeah.
Exactly. But,
All
Yeah.
right. So if there aren't any other questions, I think we're going to let you guys go. Remember, get kits from Amy Sews. Get your scan and cut boxes. Get on that wait list. Learn how to use your scan and cut. Your serger. She's got the power serger club. She's also got the guild. Do you want to talk about the guild just for a minute here too?
Oh yeah. So the Guild at Amy Sews is a monthly meeting. It's the fourth Tuesday of every month, and it's a Zoom meeting. And it's for you to show off what you're doing, because when you make something and you show it to your family and they go, that's nice. They don't understand it was 4,000 pieces in 24 hours to put together, right? So like this, we always have an interesting guest. So this month is Brent from Famori Scissors. He's going to talk about scissors and rotary cutters. And then we do show and tell. Dad, Tracy's the guild member.
Yeah.
And then we talk about you. It's a community that, we're just building for people to share. So that's what's happening. So the guilds, you can just sign up at amysews.com and hang out with us. And you can ask questions if you're stuck, right? That's the best part.
And then you can also find me on the road too, because I'm one of the lead instructors with the Original Sewing Quilt Expo. And I go on tour every year with them. So you can just go to sewingexpo.com and get my schedule there.
That's right. Jim abandons me for a couple months out of the year.
And Marcia wants to know if you're going to get any more kits with silver hardware.
I have most of the pieces. I'm waiting from the vendor to see if I can get some more. So I don't want to promise. Again, when we order a million pieces, they kind of run out. So
And they quite often don't tell us when they run out of particular pieces and parts.
right, exactly. So nothing's easy, Reen, and the retail end and the ordering end. Ever since COVID, it's been a hot mess. So
all right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can rewatch it. Don't forget to follow Amy Sews on Facebook and Embroidery Garden on Facebook. And Jim's on Facebook too.
Yep.
All right, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much
Thanks
for your
for coming.
time.
Thanks.